Exodus 11, the plague on the firstborn. Now the Lord said to Moses, I will bring one more plague on Pharaoh and on Egypt. After that, he will let you go from here, and when he does, he will drive you out completely. Tell the people that men and women alike are to ask their neighbours for articles of silver and gold. The Lord had made the Egyptians favourably disposed towards the people, and Moses himself was highly regarded in Egypt by the Pharaoh's officials and by the people. So Moses said, This is what the Lord says. About midnight I will go throughout Egypt. Every firstborn son in Egypt will die, from the firstborn son of Pharaoh, who sits on the throne, to the firstborn son of the female slave, who is at her handmill, and all the firstborn of the cattle as well. There will be a loud wailing throughout Egypt, worse than has ever been and will ever be again. But among the Israelites not a dog will bark at any personal animal. Then you will know that the Lord makes a distinction between Egypt and the Israelites. All these officials of yours will come to me, bowing down before me and saying, Go, you and all the people who follow you. After that, I will leave. Then Moses, with hot anger, left Pharaoh. The Lord said to Moses, Pharaoh will refuse to listen to you, so that my wonders may be multiplied in Egypt. Moses and Aaron performed all these wonders before Pharaoh, but the Lord hardened Pharaoh's heart, and he would not let the Israelites go out of his country.
Thank you ever so much for the reading. That was great. Exodus 11. Now, as we know, there were a lot of plagues in Egypt, and we haven't got enough time in this short thing to go through them. But what I must say is dig in, because each plague and what the plague is actually takes on one of the Egyptian gods. And you need to realise the reason there were that many plagues was because each of those gods had to be shown to be subservient to God. And so we went through, and then if you like, the ultimate god in the Egyptians was Pharaoh himself. And so here we get to the last stage. This plague is where Pharaoh, who's worshipped as a god, don't forget, it's his son that dies. The children have to die. It has to be demonstrated that God is above Pharaoh. And this whole structure is actually saying there is a lot of evil in this world. Now, we don't want to major on that. The Bible is very clear that you don't major on those sort of things. But there are powers, authorities, all of this in our world. And in this, basically, we find out that God is bigger than all of that evil powers. So again, if you you find people who are involved in occult type things, the confidence here in the Old Testament is that God is bigger than that. He has demonstrated he is bigger than that. And Jesus on the cross, if you like, broke the power. But here we find in the Old Testament that power is broken. This is, again, quite a difficult passage, but important because it talks about that God hardened the Pharaoh's heart. Now, I want to know, there's lots of things to be confident in, but one of the things that Jesus taught us is you need to fear the one who can cast you into hell. And if you like, the fear that we should worry about is the fear that our hearts would become hardened. And we all know this is a reality. You walk through life, you do stuff, and your heart becomes hardened. Many of us know what it was like to walk with Jesus, to feel in love with Jesus, and the roughness of life hardens our hearts. And so one of the things that I'd want us to pray is that we would allow God to soften our hearts. And that's a tough prayer, but it's an important prayer. And it took this set of plagues to release the children of Israel. And the Old Testament demonstrates that actually God's people are often enslaved by things. So if you like, although they were being in Egypt, they were enslaved practically. Yeah, they were actually slaves, but they were also under slave, and all the Egyptians were under slave of an even bigger authority, evil one. And for us, we need to know that the way to be not under slavery to anything is to be actually a slave to Jesus. Do you know that anything else, that it can start off as being, you're on top of this thing and it's great and it's that. But Bible teaches and experience teaches that the things that sort of come into your life, in the end, can control your life. And the way to protect yourself from that is say, I want to do what Jesus wants in my life. If like that's the safe place. It's I want Jesus as Lord, because under his lordship we are safe. So many of us need to see that the freedom is not just a freedom of an opportunity, but the gospel is that we can be free from the sin and the power of sin and the evil one. That there is a freedom from this world. And that is what we will see in the Old Testament is, do we want to go back in the world, or do we want to have the freedom in Jesus Christ? Thank you so much for joining us. Look forward to joining you tomorrow.